And welcome back, everyone. A play opening at the Aronoff Center takes you inside the life and the study of fantasy writer C.S. Lewis. And joining us this morning is the playwright and star of the show. We've got David Payne with us this morning to talk about how this all comes together for us on stage. Thank you so much for taking some time today.
Oh, nice to be here.
Well, let's start with what drew you into the life of this amazing writer, C.S. Lewis, and this whole world that he created.
Well, it started when I was 17 years old, and now I'm 81. And it started when I was 17 years old, and I was given a copy of the Screwtape Letters. That was the first book I ever read.
Sure.
And then I did a music project in Nashville when I was about 55, and I was there just for a short while, and I saw an audition notice for Shadowlands, which features C.S. Lewis, and it said auditions for Shadowlands, British accents to help, and I thought, I've got a British
You've got
accent.
one of those.
I got one of those. I had it a long time. So I went along for a small part, won the lead role, and then studied Lewis and wrote An Evening with C.S. Lewis, and been touring that for 20 odd years. And then about 3 years ago, we introduced Christmas with C.S. Lewis.
So you've been dancing around this man's life for quite a while in your own life.
A long while.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. He's so fascinating in that he is obviously known for these allegories he's made to Christianity, and yet he himself was not in that place for much of his life. Talk about that journey he made.
Yeah, well, he started when he was a sort of a mid-teenager. He became an atheist, and it wasn't until he got to the age of 30 that he gave up atheism, accepted there was a God, and then he met with Tolkien, his great friend, and Tolkien convinced him that Christ was a God. And that's when he embraced Christianity fully. What
about the relationship between those two men?
It was a very strong relationship at the beginning. It, like all relationships, it had its bumps in the road. But they were friends, I think, for nearly 37 years and ended when Lewis died.
Take us to the setting of this particular piece, this Christmas piece.
The setting is that Lewis is at his home. There are a group of Americans who are interested in English history, and they're spending Christmas in Oxford in order to experience a typical English history. And they want Lewis to talk about traditions, Christmas traditions, both past and present, and talk about how he reflects on Christmas. And so it's when people come along, they'll be surprised how much they laugh, because Lewis was a great humorist. But they'll also might need a handkerchief, because he talks about his wife, and he talks about how that first Christmas he had to experience without his wife, and how agonizing that was.
And there will no doubt be people out in the audience that night who were going through that very thing for the very first time.
We've been doing the shows now since Thanksgiving, and a gentleman wrote to me, and he said his wife died 4 years ago, and he's not been able to cope. And he said he came to my show, and he said he really felt he could go forward.
When you are ostensibly in character and you're talking to the people at this dinner party, but you're really sort of regaling the audience with that story, are you connecting them as if they are there with you at that dinner?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest compliments I get is when they say, I felt I was with C.S. Lewis.
Wow. Can't get much better than that.
Can't get much better than that.
No, you can't. Well, I appreciate spending some time with David Payne today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, sir. We'll get all the information you need in terms of tickets and times and all that kind of stuff at local12.com.
You can always find our stories here on YouTube, but go ahead and click subscribe to get notifications and stay in the know.